Hello and welcome to Morning Trade with Moneycontrol. I'm Karunya Rao and I'm here to help you navigate today's trading session with actionable strategies, sectoral trends and most importantly your queries during the show. So please keep commenting on our live feed. We'll have your questions addressed towards the latter half. But before kick-starting the show, let's see what the global handover looks like. It's a negative start to the week for Wall Street as a surprise improvement in US services sector activity fuels concerns that the Fed may have to hike rates for longer than previously anticipated. Tech shares stumble on growth concerns. Stocks in the Asia-Pacific open largely lower after a weak handover from Wall Street. The SGX Nifty too is indicating a start in the red for the Indian market. Europe closed lower as investors gauge China's COVID relaxation and oil moves. Back home, stocks in focus today will be TVS Motor, HDFC, Hindware Home Renovation and Rainbow Children's Medicare. Okay, let's get going and discuss some of the stocks that are likely to be in the spotlight today with Kunal Shah of LKP Securities. Morning, Kunal, and thanks for joining in. But before we pull up the big stocks in news today, I want to understand the trade setup and how much of a damage are we looking at following the weak global cues overnight?
Good morning, Karunya. First of all, we have seen a very stellar rally in the Nifty index and in the Bank Nifty index. Now we have some of the key events which are lined up like the RBI policy, the US Fed rate interest hike. So these are the events what the market is looking at. Since we have seen a very good rally, we have seen since the last 2 to 3 days some profit booking which is happening in the markets. But I think overall the trend is still intact. Till the time we don't break 18,500, 400 on the downside, the trend still remains positive. Even if today's gap up opening could be a very good opportunity to initiate fresh long positions on the downside. So that means I'm expecting 18,500 to be held on the higher end. 18,800, 18,900 is what I'm expecting on the upside. So I don't see any bigger move on the index front. It might be still in a consolidation phase. But in this consolidation phase, it's still a buy on dip market as long as 18,500 is hold on the downside. So even on the derivative data, if I talk about for the weekly expiry, 18,500 put has the highest open interest, whereas 18,900, 19,000 call has the highest open interest. So it's a fight between the bears and the bulls. The market is not doing much, but it is the broader markets where the real action is, that is the mid cap and the small cap space.
All right. Okay. Let's talk about Bank Nifty as well. Now, tomorrow, the RBI's MPC meet outcome will be announced. And ahead of that, how's Bank Nifty looking? Because what we are hearing is a lot of chatter, a lot of even murmurs about how Bank Nifty could see some outperformance now from these levels.
So yes, definitely, Karuna. If I talk about the Bank Nifty index, it has been an outperformer already. We have seen a very good rally over here. Now, what the market is waiting for the RBI policy, which is there tomorrow. So 35 basis point, what the street expectation is, and that is what the market has already discounted. So 42,800 on the downside would be a support for the Bank Nifty index. As long as we stay above these levels, the trend is still intact. For me, my resistance on the upside is 43,500 on technicals. So once that level is breached on a closing basis, I'm expecting the Bank Nifty index to go towards the levels of 42,200 to 44,500 on the upside. So overall, still my undertone for the Bank Nifty remains bullish. But as we say, we are likely to go for a key event. So one can initiate long positions. 42,800 should be a stop loss on the downside.
Okay. All right. Thanks for that. Now, let's pull up some stocks in news, which could witness some action on the back of news flow. Now, the first one, actually, all of the names on our list today are mostly bulk deal candidates. Now, the first one is HDFC Limited. LIC has upped its stake in the company by a small margin by buying 2.1 lakh shares additional to what they were already holding. Now, their total stake has gone slightly over 5% as far as HDFC is concerned. Kunal, how's HDFC looking? And there has been a long underperformance, in fact, for both the HDFC twins. Now, do you see that changing anytime in the near future?
So yes, Karuna, definitely if we talk about what the Indian equities have done in the last one to 2 years, we have seen a massive underperformance by the HDFC group. And since the last 1 month or so, we have seen some uptick which has started in HDFC Group as well. So similarly for HDFC Limited as well, the stock is showing some strength at the current levels. But I can say still that strength is not completely visible. For me, HDFC to resume the momentum on the upside, it has to take out the level of 2740 on the upside. So this has been a hurdle zone for the stock multiple number of times. And again, we are seeing some selling pressure from those levels only. So if 2740 is taken out, then probably the next up move will start, which will break the previous swing high as well. And then the stock is likely to go towards the levels of 2,900, 3,000 on the upside. So for me, it is still in a consolidation phase. There is no such clear absolute trend visible. I will wait for that breakout to come in, and then probably I will take a fresh trade on the upside.
Okay. All right. Now, the next name on our list was Rainbow Children's Medicare. Now, even yesterday, the stock was in the limelight. UK's British International Investment has exited the company. They have sold their entire shareholding for a price point or an average price of 735 rupees a piece. Now, who are the buyers in this transaction? There's GIC, Government of Singapore, ICICI Prudential Mutual Fund, there's Stitching Depository, APG, EMs, ADIA, India, Aecon, ICAF has, and all of them collectively have bought close to 78 lakh shares in Rainbow. Talk to us about how Rainbow is looking on the chart, and is it a name that one should keep on their radar for a medium to long-term perspective?
So if I talk about Rainbow Children's, I think when the stock was listed for the next 1 month, it didn't do anything. I mean, it was trading just in a sideways trend. And then we saw a stellar move on the upside. So from the level of 450, it almost went to 900. So you can say it has almost doubled over here in the past 3 to 4 months. Now, after this up move, what we got, the stock witnessed some correction, and now it has come to a very attractive buy level. So I think for a trading perspective, for a short-term perspective, a very good risk to reward ratio, what you are getting from the current levels. The buying which was there yesterday is showing some strength as well. So for me, the support on the downside is 730. Currently, it is trading at 750. So just a 20-point stop loss you can place on the downside. And if the move starts on the upside, it can even eventually go to 805 to 815 levels on the upside. So I think a very good risk reward one could get at the current levels. So definitely it could be a buy candidate at the current juncture.
Okay, all right. The next stock I want to pull up is TVS Motor Company. Promoter Srinivasan Trust has offloaded 262 crores worth of shares in the company. They've sold 25.7 lakh shares at an average price of 1,020 rupees a piece. Now, TVS Motor Corp has seen a good run, for most part of this year. But if I look at the last 1 month's trajectory, it has been fairly muted, almost, I'm tempted to call it weak as well. So talk to us about the way forward from these levels. 1017, 1020 odd is where, in that range is where it has been hovering. Where is it headed from here?
Exactly, Karuna, you pointed out that since the last 1 month, the stock has done nothing. In fact, you can say it has been on a negative territory. But if I exclude that 1 month and if I look at the previous data, the stock was the outperformer in the entire Nifty auto space, comparing it with Mahindra as well. So I think this run was stellar. Now, what happens that once we see such a kind of stellar run in any of the stocks witness some profit booking, goes into a consolidation phase as well. And in the last 1 month, we have seen profit booking, which has been happening in the stock at the higher levels as well. So now on the lower end, I'm expecting stock to go still further down towards the levels of 990. Now 990 has been a very good strong support from where the stock had witnessed some multiple bounces. If it holds that level, then from those levels, we can play a contra bet that we could see some upside towards the levels of a pullback rally towards 1030, 1040 on the upside. But from the current juncture, my structure still remains bearish. I am still expecting a 30 points downside in TVS Motor from the current levels.
Okay, all right. Well, moving on then to another name, which on the contrary has done well in the last 1 month. This is Hindware Home Innovation. However, in this counter, Equity Intelligence India, which is Purinju Vilayat's company, they have sold close to 1% stake. AL Mewar Commercial Investments, on the other hand, has bought 7.7 lakh shares for 380 rupees a piece. Now, stellar run-up seen last 1 month, very strong, spike. Talk to us about how a Hindware is placed going forward from these levels.
So if I look at the chart perspective, the chart looks strong. It is forming a base at the lower levels. Now, what has happened in the stock in the last 2 months, if I talk about 410 is the level from where the stock used to witness continuous selling pressure. It hit that level 2 to 3 times, and from there onward, it was not able to sustain. In fact, even in yesterday's trading session, we crossed that mark of 410, but the stock eventually settled down at 392. So for me, the closing is very important. If it closes above that 410 level, then we can see the bulls have all the control into the stock, and then it might even climb higher towards the levels of 480, 500 on the upside. So since there has been multiple resistance, a closing becomes very, very important. This could be a false breakout on the upside as well. So wait for a closing above 410, and probably then we can take a trade towards the levels of 480, 500 on the upside.
Okay, all right. Well, what about metals, Kunal? What is your sense on the index and some of the individual names as well? Because they have been witnessing a lot of momentum of late, and of course, we're seeing metal prices as a commodity also, surge quite a bit. Lot of interest in this space. Talk to us about if it's a good idea to bet on it for the next couple of months or maybe years as well.
See, if we talk about current metals, metals are very volatile, subject to global prices as well. I can just take a view on the metal from a short-term perspective. If I talk about a very long-term picture, that doesn't give me a real sense what the prices are going to be. But just looking on the technical chart perspective, we have seen some buying momentum in the last 3 to 4 trading session. Again, a stellar run, what we have seen in the metal space, if I talk about a 1 month perspective as well. So for me, metal is more of a short-term trading perspective, or max to max, you can say, for a medium-term perspective. I cannot have a very large picture on a long-term perspective because of the global prices and the global action, what it is associated with. But even if I talk about short-term, we can see some good upside in the metal space. Already the run has started. So probably at the current levels also one can initiate, even if you get any dips, metals could be a good buy, where we can still expect at least a rally of 3 to 4% on the upside on the entire metal index. Now, talking about the stock specific on the metal space, 2 stocks which are there on my radar. First is Hindalco. I think the stock has given a very strong breakout on the technical front. There were multiple resistance for the stocks, which it has taken out completely. So I can expect Hindalco to climb further on the upside for more 5 to 7% move on the upside. So Hindalco will be my one of the preferred bets on the metal space. And second is Hindustan Zinc. Now, Hindustan Zinc has also seen some very good momentum, a very good high dividend paying stock as well. So I think you could get a good up move on the upside, at least to the tune of 5 to 7% on the upside on Hindustan Zinc as well. So Hindalco and Hindustan Zinc are 2 stocks which would be my favorite from the metal pack.
Okay, all right, great. A lot of queries also lined up. Let's get going with that. I want to address AU Bank first. We've gotten a comment, and this is coming in from Rahul. He wants your short-term view on AU Small Finance Bank. How is it looking?
So if I talk about AU Small Finance Bank, the stock has been in a strong consolidation phase only. There has been no directional move. On the higher end, 685 has been a resistance zone. On the lower end, 600 has been a strong support. So probably this 80 point or 85 point range in which the stock is struck. But if I talk within the range, the stock has formed a higher high, higher low formations on the chart, and it's on a verge of a short-term breakout on the upside. So for me, if it closes above 655, again in yesterday's trading session, it hit that mark of 655, but again it failed to close above it. So if in today's trading session, if it closes above 655, this could be a good bet to go on long side towards the levels of 680, 685 on the upside. So the chart looks interesting, trying to form a base on the lower levels. We can see a good 20 to 25 points move on the upside in the very short term.
Okay, all right. I want to also address the IT cluster. Lots of comments and queries coming in there. I see Naveena's comment for Infosys. Shubham Gangwar is asking for Zensar. Somebody called Mandar was also asking about TCS and Infi. Talk to us about how IT index is looking right now. Is it poised for a long, sustained rally, or what we witnessed in the recent past was just a minor, dead cat bounce sort of a thing before it again goes back into a slumber mode?
Yeah, so exactly, Karunya. I think IT has been a flavor where a lot of people are interested in that. Even from our client perspective, we get a lot of queries. Has the IT made a bottom? Should we buy IT at the current levels? What's the view over here? So, what we suggest to our clients over here in this perspective that IT is looking strong. It has formed a very strong base on the lower end, but since the volatility is very high, we don't recommend them to aggressively go for it. But yes, if companies like TCS, Infosys, they should be definitely part of your portfolio for a long-term perspective. In fact, the mid-cap IT companies such as L&T Mindtree, which has been merged now, Coforge, these are some of the stocks which are looking good. So definitely they should be there in a portfolio for a trading perspective as well, and also for a long-term perspective. But if the bottom has made right now in IT, still the picture is not clear, to be honest. It will spend some more time, or it will consolidate over here since till the next 2 to 3 months as well. But I think one thing what I would like to pitch into your viewers as well, there's something called as ITBs, and this ITBs is something similar to Nifty Bs as well. So if you are bullish on IT for a long-term perspective, which the view is, ITBs could be a very good play where you can buy in for that ITBs. It is similar to a mutual fund, so that you are invested in IT through SIPs as well, even through long-term purchasing, one-time purchasing, what you can do. And eventually for a 5 to 10 year perspective, ITs will definitely outperform as well.
Okay, all right. I hope that addresses most of our viewers' queries that they had with respect to a host of stocks. Moving on, Naveen is sending us a comment. He wants your advice on Praj. Can you tell us, what do you think there?
So sugar has been a play which a lot of people, what we had talked about the ethanol story, and that is where Praj witnessed some very good momentum in the near term. But since the last 1 to 2 months, that momentum has dried up. We are seeing some downtrend which is there in the stock. But if I talk about the overall view, if I look at the monthly chart, or if I look at the weekly chart on technicals, the trend is still intact. The trend has not got disturbed on the downside. So for me, 369, 370 is a very strong support on the downside from where the stock had witnessed some good buying momentum. Currently, we are trading at 378. So only a 7 to 8 points down, we have a support for the stock on the downside. So again, a very good risk to reward ratio, which you get on Praj Industries. Definitely, it could be a buy candidate at the current levels. It is at that demand zone from where we can see some pullback rally towards the levels of 410 to 420 on the upside. So Praj definitely remains on the buy side.
Okay, all right. So Shant is asking us a question on Reddington. Reddington actually is at a lifetime high, I mean, close to the lifetime high levels. Do you think it has entered a fresh new phase where it could build on to this momentum, or could it see some correction and perhaps offer a good entry point then?
So absolutely, Karuna, if you talk about Reddington, there has been a change of polarity completely. The trend which was there, it was trading in a massive long consolidation phase. And now we have seen a higher high, higher low formations on the chart. So definitely a change in trend is visible on Reddington. It's definitely on the buy list. Even at the current levels, one could buy. Any dip you get, that could also be a very ideal opportunity to initiate a long position. Now on the downside for the stock, 160 is now a very good support on the downside. So currently it is trading at 180. You just have a 20 point downside, which I can see maximum on the stock. And on the higher end, if this uptrend starts to continue, the stock could even head towards the levels of 250, 260 on the upside. So I think a very good momentum stock. As we say in the stock markets, buy your strength, sell your weakness. This is a stock which is absolutely showing a lot of strength. Change of polarity, definitely the momentum is likely to continue on the upside.
Kunal, you were sharing your views on a host of metal stocks. We have a query on Nalco. Funny has bought National Aluminium at 81, 82 rupees levels, and he wants to know whether it will rally or could it see some reversal from those levels.
So if I talk about Nalco, the stock was consolidating in a broad range. As we said, the metal stocks have started to pick up in the last 3 to 4 trading sessions. That is where some buying momentum has been seen. But if I compare with the entire metal space, National Aluminium has been one of the least performer. That means still the rally has not started in that. So the movement is likely to go on the upside towards the levels of 83, 84, where it has a hurdle. If it gives a closing above that levels, then this rally could extend towards 90, 95 on the upside. So definitely it's trying to form a base on the lower end. The momentum has started to pick up. So it's a long candidate. I can expect two targets. First is 83, 84 on the upside. And if that is sustained, you can even head towards 92, 93 on the upside.
Okay, all right. Prabhu sent us a host of comments, actually, lots of comments for Jet Airways. How is it looking over the medium to long term? And if not Jet, perhaps can someone look at an Interglobe maybe as for an investment idea?
So, if I talk about firstly Jet Airways on the chart is obviously very distorted. We don't get any clear-cut picture on the stock as well. So, it is more of a news-based rather than a price-based stock at the current levels. So, for Jet Airways, my view still remains avoid at the current levels. I don't see on the chart perspective strong buying which is happening at the lower levels, or there has been a very good support which has been formed. But yes, Indigo is one stock which definitely one could look at the picture from the current levels. Since we have seen a fall in crude prices, so crude has corrected a lot, and that could give a very good advantage to this aviation sector as a whole. So Indigo looks much more positive on the chart. Recently, the stock had given a falling trend line breakout with volumes on the chart perspective, and again, this move can continue on the upside towards the levels of 2100. So currently the stock is trading at 1920. We can still expect at least 100 points rally on the upside from the current levels. So I would prefer Indigo over Jet Airways from the current levels.
Okay, all right. How's Varun Beverages looking? Last 1 week has been very strong for this one. We have a query coming in from Rakesh as well. Now, Varun Beverages, again, inching close to that 52-week high of its recent record. Let's talk about where it's headed from here on and if it's a good time to enter, because that's the query that has come in from Rakesh.
So if I talk about Varun Beverages, it's similar to the story of what we had talked about Reddington. I think a 52-week high, buy your strength, sell your weakness. The same concept applies here. This is a stock which is showing absolutely strength over here. But should we buy at the current levels? My answer to this is no, because the stock has already seen a stellar move. I think dips should be utilized for the stock to initiate long positions. For me, the support on the downside is around 1220. So 1220, 1250, this would be an ideal level. If it comes, then one could definitely start to accumulate the stock at those levels. I'm not saying the stock even can't rally from the current levels, but for me, the risk to reward ratio is not favorable. If someone wants to add at the current levels, they can start accumulating any dips even towards 1250, 1220. You could accumulate the stock, and eventually I can expect the stock even to go towards the levels of 1500, 1550 on the upside.
Okay, one final question I have for you, and this is on consumer durable stocks. Any names that stand out there? We have a lot of comments coming in for this space too.
So if I talk about the entire consumer durable space, Karunya, the consumer durable space has been doing well. On the long-term perspective as well, there has been a buying momentum that has been picked up in the entire space as well. So consumer durable, even if I talk about the next 6 months perspective or so, these are the stocks which are likely to do well. We have the budget coming up in the February, so that is where also some buying action will start to continue on that space as well. So I think ITC is one stock which is there on my radar as well. I think that could eventually go on the higher end from the current levels as well. The stock has already seen a very good rally on the upside, but I think if you look about a 1-year picture from now on, the stock would again test its new all-time high levels as well. So for me, ITC is one stock which you should keep on your radar in the near term.
Okay. I mean, you've already told us, Kunal, that you like Zinc as one of your preferred picks. What's the other stock that you have for us today?
So overall, I'm metals, as we talked about, the space is looking very bullish. The second space which I'm very bullish on from the current levels is the Nifty Reality Index. So the Nifty Realty Index has given a very strong breakout. Realty was consolidating since the last 1 year. After that 2020 COVID crash, it was Realty which saw very good outperformance. And after that, it went into a 1 year consolidation phase. Now the next up move has started on the Realty space, where my top pick would be DLF. Now, DLF on the daily chart has formed a very good sideways consolidation pattern, and it's on the verge of a breakout on the upside. So, infra as a play, DLF, if I talk about it, even considers into the infrastructure space, and this could be again a budget play as well as the reality space. So, I think it's a dual benefit what you are getting on the space right now, and this momentum is likely to continue on the upside. Currently, it is trading around 415, 417 zone. I'm expecting the stock to go towards 440, 450 levels on the upside. One can keep a stop loss of 390 on the downside. Infra and reality is something which will see some good momentum for the next 1 to 2 months.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Kunal, for talking to us about a host of stocks, addressing so many queries and sharing with us your reading of the market as well. With that, it's a wrap on Morning Trade. Thank you for tuning in.